You're listening to Eat, Play, Sex with Dr. Cat, the place to up-level that sexy life of yours, with expert talk on sex, love, and nutrition.
What do you think makes a good dominant?
Is besides someone who took my class. I think, again, it's just about understanding yourself before you sort of dominate someone else, and like understanding your boundaries, and and obviously just doing things like having careful negotiations and making sure consent is in place, and certainly not doing things that are dangerous to your dominant. Like, there's certain things that like people have asked me to do, and I couldn't do them because I wasn't trained to do them, or I didn't feel safe doing them. And, then I can refer them to somebody else, or just say, oh, well, if you teach me how to do this thing, then I can do it to you, or we can do a double, and, something like that. I think it's basically that, like safety, and, understanding what you're doing, and also understanding that it takes a lot of trust, and it's a really big deal for someone to, give you their body and their fantasies to like play with. And it's like, you have to take care of that, and make sure that they're okay after, and the aftercare, and maybe sometimes after the aftercare, depending on what you've negotiated and discussed.
I think that's really important. And one thing I really want to highlight in there is the importance of a dominant also being able to honor and respect their own boundaries, or have boundaries. Where I think, the concept of boundaries is being talked about so much right now in society, but I think it feels tossed around like a buzzword. A lot of people don't quite understand what that means, or even in this case, how do dominants have boundaries? Wouldn't that be, more of a sub thing, or I don't know. How do you?
Well, I mean, I think that, it's like a lot of people don't have good boundaries. This is why they're in therapy, it's like, I sort of joke, but I'm serious that like, BDSM and being a professional dom has like really taught me everything. And it's like, I do have really good boundaries, in my professional life, but also in my personal life. And it's like, every day I just like see like the drama like unfold. I'm like, wow, that really sucks. I'm here like, drinking my sparkling rosé on my couch, and like, nah, well, bye, and it's like, it's really hard for people to do this, because I mean, it's very much entwined in like a family structure usually. So we're not taught good boundaries. I think only maybe a year or two ago that there was like a popular article or something going around the holidays, like, hey, when your kids see their relatives, don't force them to hug them and kiss them. And that was huge, because like it had never been discussed before. And it's like, we don't teach children that their bodies are their own. And then 20 years later, they're like, I have no boundaries. And what is a boundary? And I don't even know what that means, because we've never been modeled that. We've never been taught that. We are seeing that modeled like through our parents, like, obviously, usually, and what that looks like, and family structures. And then we grow up and we don't understand what they are, how to fix them. So I thought like having that come out was so positive and such a great idea, because no one had really thought about it before. I think it did so much good. I hope. I know it did good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think having these conversations more and more, so that people actually understand it, and it's not just used and then as a deflector, or, yeah, I've got my boundaries because I talk about it all the time, but then go in and, people please, or give more than what's actually okay for them, and end up doing harm.
Yeah, definitely. I think that happens like all the time. And then this like builds up like, resentment, and like not feeling good. And, and then, later, like it certainly happened to me, where like people have like gone beyond their boundaries, and I'm thinking everything's okay. And then all of a sudden there's like a blow up. I'm like, well, wait, like you were going along with this. Like I thought things were okay, and now they're not. And I can't know that if I'm asking you and you don't answer, like, I think an enthusiastic yes is being given, and it really wasn't from you, but it also would have been okay to like, not, or change or something. So it's like, that's why I say first, like, you have to know like what your own boundaries are, like what you're okay with. And then also something I didn't quite go into the class, but it's also to give yourself permission to like fuck up and like realize, oh, I didn't know that was a boundary, or, oh, I didn't know that was a trigger, but like, oh, now I see it, and I'm going to give myself some space for that, because like, as you start exploring these things, and it'll be different with different people, or like stuff will come up and you're like, oh, I didn't know that was there. Oh, okay. Let me like take a minute and like think about that. Like, we have a lot of time right now. So, just, just taking a little bit of time to think through those things.
Yeah, which in and of itself is therapy. Like I
Mhm.
see that as as a very experiential way of learning these more complex ideologies of psychology and social, relationships.
Mhm.
Yeah, amazing.
Lovers, thank you again for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, hit subscribe and head over to eatplaysex.com to connect with me and grab my sexy guides. Because my goal here is to get you to eat, play, and sex better so you can improve your sex life, which will improve every aspect of your life. Until next time, keep it sexy.